Hi everybody, it's me, Travis, the Pagan Scholar, and this is an update because I finished NanoWrimo! I made my word count, I hit 50,000 words. I'm not really going to say that I won, because who wins? I mean, anyways. So because even though every single day during the month of November I wrote and I achieved 50,000 words, which was the word count, in no way, shape, or form could my 50,000 words be considered a novel. I basically have a bunch of characters that I've loosely strung together in this universe that probably still isn't completely formed, and it's like they do things. I was in Barnes & Noble today, just feeling kind of bummed out about, even though I won NanoWrimo, I still, have no clue what I'm going to be doing with all of these words that I've written. Anyways, and I found a Neil Gaiman book, I picked it up, and I turned to a random page and I read that it took him 3 years and a couple of months to write the Graveyard book. And it's like, if Neil Gaiman has to take that much time to write his miraculous and amazing works of art, I can stop beating myself up over not being able to hammer out a sensible plot in 30 days. So as a way to kind of jump back into YouTube, I'm doing the author tag. I found this out through Rachel Stevens. She has an amazing, amazing YouTube channel. The very first question is, where is your favorite place to write? I would love to say I write in cafes, but there are none in my city. There are Starbucks, but Starbucks aren't really cafes. And there's one other, but it's super just not conducive to writing, I think. So I write at home. I get home from work and I sit, I hammer away at a glass table. Question 2, coffee or tea? I drink coffee. I know there are so many people in the pagan and witchy community who love their tea, and you know what, that's wonderful, that's great. I've never gotten into tea. I've had really great teas before, but it's just, I'm not invested in those rituals. I'm much more invested in the ones that I've created with my coffee. Like Rachel Stevens, I used to be a barista, and, well, she is still a barista. Anyways, I drink my coffee, and I also like to drink it cold. I make it the night before, and then I have it cold in the morning, but as winter rolls in, I might start drinking it hot. Drink it with cream, because I used to be really pretentious and arrogant to be like, oh, I drink my coffee black like my soul. And it's like, you know, I drink it with cream because, like, I don't hate myself anymore. So, yeah. Question 3, what is your favorite book of all time? I'm bending the rules because Rachel Stevens bent the rules as well. And I'm going to show you multiple of my favorite books. If you have watched any of my other videos that involve books, you will know that I am in love with this series right through. Gender Bendy, you can watch one of the previous videos where I gush over it. Jean Genet, Notre Dame de Fleurs, or Our Lady of the Flowers. It's a very, I've talked about this before as well on my library tour, but very dry, very French, but it's influential because it took me my entire adolescence to read this book. And post-adolescence, because being in your 20s is not being an adolescent. Anyways, because we have evolving forms of literacy. Lost at Sea. This is a graphic novel by Brian Lee O'Malley. This is the creator who did Scott Pilgrim, and there was a couple of other things that he's done, but I found this when I was 14, and this was like my soul in novel form. So I have kept it all these years, and I still read it, and I still, like, choke up when I read this. So, Lost at Sea. Question 4, NanoWrimo, yes or no? Yes, obviously, but I have learned a lot from Rachel's channel. I'm just gonna keep name dropping her in this video. To have written a bunch of words just for the sake of writing words to reach a word count, that is counterproductive. Like, I need to slow down, and it's like, yes, it is good to get all that stuff on paper, to get into the habit of writing, but it's just, I produced a bunch of garbage, and now I have to kind of wade through everything that I've brought into existence and decide if I'm going to kill my darlings or not. I know that's not what that expression means, but you get it anyways. Question 5 is, what genre could I write in if I had no restrictions? I'm going to take this as if I had the talent to write in any genre as opposed to restrictions, because I'm not a published author. I can write whatever the hell I want. I want to write, like, in my head, you've got urban fantasy and you've got like high fantasy with like Tolkien elves and shit. I sort of want mystic fantasy, if that makes any sense. It's my ideas of genre are very much influenced by Neil Gaiman and by Catherine Valenti. They write these beautiful... actually, this is the next question. We're gonna skip ahead and answer 2 questions in one. What the fuck does this mean? Okay, my favorite author is question 7. So what kind of genre would I write in, and who is my favorite author? My favorite authors influence the genres that I want to write in, and that is... If you don't know who Neil Gaiman is, he's the person who wrote Sandman series, he wrote Stardust, he wrote The Nazi Boys, American Gods, all highly recommend. I am now currently reading, for the first time, Neverwhere. But yeah, he's phenomenal, and Catherine Valenti, I've read her poems to you before, Oracles, A Pilgrimage, and I've raved about The Bread We Eat in Dreams. It's a collection of short stories. Her poems and her stories, like, they open your soul, and they place, like, a bead of magic and happiness, and then they close it, and they flutter away from you. So I would like to write this kind of mystic fantasy where you're grappling with these kind of broad, like, paradigm-bending topics, and you think about infinity, and your brain starts to, like, loop in on itself, and it starts to, like, kind of hurt a little bit, so you quit thinking about it. Those authors and this mystic fantasy that I kind of want to write, that it sort of like gently plays with those ideas, and that's sort of what I want to write. Oh my god, that was the longest response to a question. Okay. Question 6 is, if I could have any superpower, what would it be? My favorite superhero is Raven from the DC universe. Yes, I did find out about her through Teen Titans. I'm not ashamed. She has a pretty messed up origin story, but her powers come through her emotions, and she has to keep them on lockdown, and it's sort of this very meditative, mentally and emotionally in control person, and that's sort of who I would aspire to be. That's who I pretend to be. So I identify with her a lot, and I think she's really cool, so I would have to say I would definitely go for some Azeroth, Metrio, and Zinthos. What kind of music do I listen to is question 9? 8? 8. What kind of music do I listen to? I have different tastes in music. I listen to lo-fi beat tapes. It's sort of the music that you hear in the background of R&B and rap music. I just like the instrumentals because it's this syncopated rhythm. Usually it's pretty chill, it's pretty crunchy, it's pretty loungy. And it's very conducive for writing because it does give me a rhythm that I can start to write to, but it usually changes up to where I'm not bored with it and my brain doesn't become just like, why are we listening to this? I'll also listen to chiptune, to electronica, to EDM. I also really like Theophany. Theophany is this phenomenal group, and they have orchestrated music from The Legend of Zelda. It's like heartbreaking. It's so beautiful. I mean, they are channeling Majora's Mask when they're making this music. Of course, that's sad in and of itself, but it's so beautiful, and it deserves to be listened to, and it takes you places. So orchestrated Zelda music, because if you didn't figure that out already, I'm kind of a nerd. So moving on, next question. If I could live anywhere, where would it be? For a very, very long time, I romanticized living in France. J'ai étudié la langue de français. Mon français c'est très mal parce que j'ai oublié tous les mots, tous les verbes, toute la conjugation. C'est quel triste, oui. Mais I know that that's probably just not something that is likely to happen, and it's just something that I've grown to accept. I do enjoy the East Coast, though, more than the West Coast. Nothing wrong with California or Portland, but I am much more of the scarves and sweaters and lattes and I was going to say cigarettes, but I don't have those anymore. Kind of weather. One time a friend told me that apparently Chicago is just me incarnate in a place. Apparently Chicago is where you go when you've studied philosophy and gender and write unpublishable experimental fiction. So, yeah, maybe Chicago. I can compromise in the middle. And then the last question is, what do you do when you get writer's block? You keep writing. That was the whole point of NanoWrimo, is in spite of writer's block, you continue to write. Now that I have kind of eased up and I'm done with November, I've allowed myself to take a couple of days off, and I realize that this is writer's block right now because I am so frustrated with my project, with my idea, that it's like, why the hell should I even try? I need to remember what my original goal was. You know, I do want to write something. I do want to, you know, leave a story behind, and I want somebody to read it, and I want somebody to say, wow, that made me think differently. I never considered it that way, and maybe inspire them to pick up a pen or to read a poem or to, yeah, I don't know. It's very grand of me to say like, oh, remember, you're doing this to inspire others. No, but seriously, that's sort of what everybody has to remember whenever they want to quit any project. They need to remember why they started. And so that's the only thing that I could ever actually dwell on whenever I had a really bad case of writer's block during November. I just, you know, pushed through it by telling myself, remember why you started, and you'll thank yourself when you're done. All right, this is an obscene amount of footage for a tag video, but I'm still here. I made it through NanoWrimo. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting me. I really, really, really appreciated the warm wishes, the goodwill that was sent out to me during this time. As you can see, I'm fucking exhausted. And I'm just like burnt out, but videos will resume again. It's going to be weird during December because my schedule gets all messed up because they extend the hours that I'm at work, and so, but I am looking forward to doing at least a couple of Vlogmas things. Like, I'm not doing Vlogmas, but last year I did a couple of topics on Christmas. I thought those were pretty cool, so I've got some ideas for that. I want to do tarot and poetry, maybe? I don't even remember what card I'm on. Yeah, I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with this channel. Yeah, it's a good time to grow and change and just see what's going to happen with this experiment that I have undertaken. I would like your feedback, actually. I know I experimented with the idea of doing a Let's Play channel. I need to, like, tune up my computer before I start trying to record and stream videos of me playing video games. I've also thought about doing some other things, but again, it's all, like, just percolating back here. It's not anything that I can actually pull out and talk about. So please give me your ideas. What do you think would be an interesting thing that you would like to see on this channel? I am going to cut out. I'm going to read Neverwhere. Neverwhere? Is that the name of the book that I just bought? Yeah, Neverwhere. Okay, I'm so exhausted, guys. I'm just gonna read this book and I'm gonna poke around on the internet. Hey Neil Gaiman, if you're watching this, can you give me some tips? I mean, I love your work, but like, my writing sucks. If you want, guys, I'll do a follow-up video where I'll post something on Facebook, like an excerpt of what I wrote, of the better things that I wrote. But yeah, I need some ideas for that too. We can make it a group project, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm going to end this video. So, thank you so much for watching, everybody. As always, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.